that we're recording. There we go. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Molly Nielsen. I am the middle school principal. This is my first year at ACS, and it's just been a great journey so far, getting to know families, getting to know about our learning program that we have at ACS for your children. And one of the pillars, kind of the heart of our program, is our world languages team. And at the center of that program is our Arabic department. And so they're going to be hosting the call tonight. As we make our way through our conversation this evening, we would ask that you please keep your microphones muted. As stated before, we'll be recording the call for all of our families who weren't able to join us tonight. If at any time a question bubbles up, we're a small group, so if you're comfortable, feel free to unmute. Otherwise, drop your question or your wondering in the chat, and I'll be moderating the chat as we go through. But we thought we would just take a little bit of time, and like we said, if you're, I'm going to introduce Miss Diala to talk about herself and give a little context, and then we'll take a little time to introduce everyone on the call this evening. Over to you, Diala.
Thank you, Molly. Hello, everyone. My name is Diala Kamal. I've been at ACS for 12 years now, and I'm the World Languages Subject Area Leader and Arabic Coordinator. It's been great. It's always great to work with the community, and I'm very fortunate to work with the Arabic team. So I want also to introduce the Arabic middle school team, Miss Frida Abi Faris and Miss Asma Zaidouri. They can give you, come on, a little bit brief about themselves. Go ahead, Frida.
Hi, I'm Frida Abi Faris. I'm a Lebanese who's been living in Jordan for the past 18 years now. I have a son who's in 11th grade. His name is Omar. He started in ACS since pre-K 1. So he's been here in this school for 14 years. I've been teaching Arabic for 10 years now in ACS. And I teach middle schoolers from level C to level G, which is like the equivalent to the first high school level. I enjoy having both the mix of non-natives and natives at the same time. I enjoy having all your kids in my classes, especially in the classes that show a lot of development. It makes me so happy to see their performances and their presentations and their love of the language. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Asma Zaidouri. I'm Algerian and living in Amman. I have two kids. This is my 4th year. I started teaching in 2009. Basically French teacher, and this is my 4th year in ACS, and I teach Arabic A and Arabic B, and I have a master's degree in journalism and media in Arabic.
Okay, so that's our middle school world language team, part of our middle school world language team, and our Arabic teachers. We're so happy to have them on the call with us tonight. If you would just take a second and either drop in the chat or unmute and just tell us a little bit about who you are, how long you've been a member of the ACS community. If you're comfortable kind of sharing who your kiddo is in our program, and pop quiz parents, if you know their level of Arabic. So if you want to drop that in the chat, we'd love to see who's here this evening.
Go ahead, Nicole. If you feel comfortable to speak, you can do so.
Thanks, Amanda. Nice to have you here. Anybody else that feels comfortable, just kind of letting us know who you are, maybe who your child is, and if you know what level they are in Arabic. We'd love to see who's with us this evening.
Hi, this is Melissa Matthews. My son Bordy is in 7th grade, and I'm sorry I don't know his level. He would be able to tell me, but I just wanted to say that we lived in Saudi Arabia for 5 years before this, and my kids learned not a word of Arabic, and they have just really taken off since coming to ACS. So I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, thanks for that. That's awesome. What teachers? Bordy's in, I think, B?
C.
C.
He's level C.
It's a fun class.
Such a fun class. Such a fun group of kids as well.
Totally. Thanks, Nicole. Nice to see you. And mom to Sophia in level A, the 2nd year. Okay. Well, as more families hopefully join us, and oh, there's another one. Hello. Oh, level F, and we've been at ACS for 5 years. Awesome. Lovely to have you with us this evening and to learn more about you and your family. As families come in, hopefully they see the chat and let us know who's here. So the goal of this conversation this evening, and really, it is a conversation, especially since we are a small group. So feel free to unmute and share and kind of share questions or things as they come up. But here are some of the topics that we're going to be covering tonight. We're going to be talking about why this language is so important to ACS. We're going to talk a little bit about your role as being a parent of a child who's learning a language. We're going to talk a little bit about what pedagogically language instruction looks like, and specifically what that looks like at ACS with our curriculum and standards that we use each day. We're going to talk a little bit about our levels of proficiency and what learning looks like with the standards that we use. We're going to talk a little bit about, things that influence language learning, positive things that we can do to support our children, and then things that may lead to some challenges of learning a new language. Talk a little bit about contact time, what your child's schedule looks like in Arabic. Most specifically, the focus of our language program school-wide is really on their ability to communicate. And so we're going to talk about the different modes of communication. We'll talk about what it means what's the difference between being in level A, being in level B, what does that mean? And then we'll talk, the highlight of the program will really be talking about what your child is doing and showcasing really some of the amazing projects that are happening in your child's Arabic classes each day. So that kind of gives you an overview of kind of the intentions of our evening. And we're going to start with talking about why is Arabic important. And I really appreciate Melissa, you sharing your previous experience in Saudi. Arabic is the language of our host country, and whether that means we're a Jordanian living in this country, or we're a visitor in this country, or our family has relocated to this country, it is our host country, and it's the language that's most spoken here. It is also a huge portion of our school community. About 30% of our students and their families are native Arabic speakers, which is a really, really beautiful thing. One of my favorite parts of the day is seeing the kids, especially the little kids. I love the middle schoolers, don't get me wrong, but it's the cutest thing ever to see a little kindergartner greet the drivers and custodians and guards in a mutually respectful way. Not only is it important because we're all living in Jordan at this same time, but Arabic is a world language. It's the 5th most spoken language in the world, and as you can see, 290 million people speak it. And so while this is important for your child's time in a nation that speaks this language, it's going to be such a powerful tool for them to take into university and wherever their life takes them. And then we know, just from a neurological level or a learning lens, that learning languages improves performance across the board. And so what your child is doing in their world language program is going to impact their ability to make connections to the study of language arts, the study of social studies, investigating in science. All of those practices that are really embedded into the world language program support them throughout the rest of their day. So that's why we think it's so important. What we want you to think a little bit about is as the parent on the call, what are ways that we can promote Arabic language for our students? What are some things that you can do at home, and what are some things that we can do at school to promote the language? Go ahead and just drop a few ideas in the chat. Teachers, you can too. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we're just starting a little question in the chat. We've introduced ourselves. We've talked a little bit about the outcomes for the evening. And right now we're just brainstorming and asking those of you on the call to idea generate a little bit about how we can promote Arabic for our students. What are things that we can do at home? And what are things that we can do at school to really promote the language? And so if you have an idea, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Oh, here they come. Awesome. So we have things like provide real life situations for our students to use the language. We have, I'd love to see more immersive programs such as in ASAs or special electives in Arabic. Oh, that's a really interesting idea. Just providing authentic times for your child to speak Arabic, and from time to time have integration between classes to encourage communication and increase vocab. Yes, how powerful would it be for all of our world language kiddos to come and lead a presentation in that language that they're studying in their science class or whatever that may be. And also provide more electives and some fun opportunities such as ASAs. We've seen this in some of the other schools. Awesome. So those are wonderful ideas. And some of those, you know, we do at school each day, and some of those are things that we can continue to talk about as we develop and grow our Arabic program. So here's some things that you can do at home to really support your child's development in speaking the language. One, even for those of us who don't speak Arabic and may not be able to provide a lot of critiquing, just creating an environment where our child feels like they can speak, especially in middle school. Like, that's such a big risk to put yourself out there like that and speak in a language that you're learning. And so just creating a safe environment where, you know, you create a space where your child is going to take that risk. Now, if you do speak Arabic, what a powerful way to share not only your language, but culture together by speaking the language. Some ways that you can provide real opportunities are like, have your kid write the grocery list in Arabic, right? When you're ordering your Thai food from Talabat, which we may or may not be doing in my house right now, see if your child can speak to the person in Arabic when they call. Any real life situation that doesn't have to be super complex. They don't have to sit down and write an essay for you every night, that shows them like, wow, this makes my life easier, or this was much more efficient, or I was able to advocate for my family, or I was able to take this off my family's to-do list because I have this incredible skill that I can speak this language, is just going to reinforce that practice for your child. Know that there are a ton of resources. There are a ton of resources to help support your child's language development in the LC. There are a ton of resources that you can reach out to our teachers and ask for. Ms. Yell has got a list of things that you can do. But resources are also like watching a film together in Arabic, or listening to music together, reading stories in Arabic, are all resources that reinforce that language development. And then finally is just emphasizing the importance. And that importance is so unique for each family. For some families, Arabic is culture and familial ties and telling your family's story. For other families, it's this really incredible experience where we're living in an Arabic speaking nation for this short amount of time. And I want you to understand the culture in a way that you would never understand if you didn't have that language base. And so just talking through why it's important for your family that your child has this experience makes it so much more relevant for them. So those are some things that you can do at home to just kind of support your child's learning. And with that, I'll turn it over to Diala, who will talk a little bit more about our instructional program, our Arabic standards, and your child's day-to-day experience.
Thank you. We really appreciate all the comments and ideas that you wrote in the chat. Really, they sound really great, and we take them into consideration. We'll discuss them for sure after our parent chat. I want to take the opportunity to give you an overview and details about the Arabic program at ACS and the top factors that influence learning. But before that, I'd like you to take a minute to think about the difference between the language instruction and learning in the past and nowadays. Please share your thoughts in the chat box again, just to have an idea of and the comparison between the past and nowadays. Yes, more emphasis on communication, and our focus is communication. Technology, IT integration. It's there. We're utilizing the IT resources. We're fortunate to have these kinds of resources and to utilize them in classrooms. Feedback also now, it's more instant. I can see that receiving feedback in different ways. Any other ideas? Making connection, making learning relevant. Yes. Thank you for your notes. The notes are all relevant. And I want to highlight also that there has been a transformation in language instructions during the past few years. We currently focus on language usage, as you said, rather than focusing on learning about the language itself. Our core focus is the students' needs to guide them to be proficient in the language learning. And to use the Arabic language outside the classroom and in the classroom. All the language skills are connected and embedded in our teaching. Therefore, we utilize the backward design that focuses on the end goal and the outcomes that we want our students to do by the end of the course or their journey. Additionally, the language learning has developed to be more authentic and relevant to students' life. So this is the difference between the past and now. And you mentioned this also in the chat. The framework that we're using, so Molly, the next slide, please. The framework that we adopt at ACS is the ACTIFL framework, which is the American Council for Teaching Foreign Languages. Mainly, we chose it because they are a trusted independent council who has frameworks and standards that are internationally well recognized. Also, it provides vision, leadership, and support for quality teaching and learning languages. So we were exploring different frameworks, and then we thought that ACTIFL will serve us really well at ACS for all the world languages, including Arabic. Based on the ACTIFL framework, there are 6 core practices for language learning recommended by the ACTIFL, and all the 6 practices focus on task-based learning and the communicative approach. Additionally, the target language is used at least 90% of class time as one of the best practices. And for our program at ACS, our Arabic program is standard-based. We use the ACTIFL standards and can do statements for learning languages. We definitely use various types of texts and variety of resources based on the needs and proficiency levels of the students. Our aim is that our students demonstrate understanding or mastery of the language skills that they are expected to learn as they progress from a level to another through their learning. ACTIFL has identified different proficiency levels from novice to distinguished. Each level of proficiency has sub-levels too, and you can see that progressing from a level to another requires more time as they advance. So moving from novice to intermediate needs less time than moving from intermediate to advanced. That's why the shape of it is a cone. And it's worth mentioning also that the advanced high level and beyond are levels of proficiency for post-high school. So these are the levels of proficiency for ACTIFL. Frida will give you also, will speak more about the levels that we have at ACS.
In middle school, we have a wide range of Arabic classes that stretches according to the proficiency levels, from A level being the novice low to G being the intermediate high. Moving further, specifically to the pathways, as you see, the students can take and reach in their journey of learning Arabic. As you can see, the non-natives, the students that are non-natives who come from grade 5, go to A or B, depending on their language background and the number of years they studied Arabic, while the native students from grade 5 go to D or E, depending on their language background and proficiency in the language. All students undertake an assessment in the beginning of the year to be placed in the correct level that they deserve. You can see also that in high school, students are given the opportunity to do external exams, which is a capstone of our AP level and equivalent to the Tawjihi level. Now, in your opinion, what do you think are some of the components that may affect learning a language? Can you please type in your ideas in the chat box? What are some of the stuff that can influence their learning? Definitely. interest and enthusiasm, motivation, use and practice, and exposure to the language and to real life situations so they can use this language.
Well, thank you for your comments. I would like to highlight the top 5 factors that influence language learning. We can see that time and motivation to learn are the top 2 factors. So the contact time is very crucial for developing language performance, and you can see at the screen how the number of years that the students spend in learning the language influence the progression in the proficiency level. For example, a student who starts learning Arabic in grade 6 will reach the intermediate range at the end of high school. Now, please type your answer in the chat box. We are interested to know also how much time do your children get exposed to Arabic outside ACS. Please type your answer in the chat box. How much time do your children get exposed to Arabic during the day or outside the school, outside ACS?
It could be challenging for the non-native speakers to have to speak Arabic outside the classroom and outside ACS. However, we can take advantage of being in Jordan, since it's the language of the host country and it's different than French and Spanish, for example, the other world languages. So even listening to the language in the radio, watching TV, seeing the signs at the street, participating in different activities, or even collaborating and interacting with the students at ACS could make a difference. So we encourage you to find these real opportunities for your kids because, as Asma said, time is a very crucial component in learning languages and developing in the language.
Thank you, Diana. As you said, it's very important to provide opportunities for the student where they can get exposed to Arabic language outside ACS. Here, as you can see on the screen, at ACS, the contact time for Arabic is 75 minutes every other day in middle school.
As we said before, communication is the focus of our curriculum, and we focus on 4 communication modes. And these communication modes are our reporting categories as well. So interpretive communication, where students understand, interpret, and analyze what they hear or read or view. Also interpersonal communication, written and oral interpersonal communication, where students have the chance to interact, negotiate in meaningful oral or written conversations. Presentational communication, written and oral as well, where they have the chance to present a topic or information in front of audience, and they also have the chance to research for this topic. The fourth mode of communication is intercultural communication, where the students investigate and learn about the practices, about the behaviors and perspectives of the culture of the target language. They also reflect on the cultural components. It's one of our main reporting category. And when we plan for units, usually we take culture into consideration. All our themes are culturally based, and we encourage the students to reflect and compare between their own culture and the culture of the target language. Here are the benchmark and standards that we use. Teachers usually share the standards and learning targets with the students in class. Ms. Frida Abifaris also will post the link in the chat for you if you would like to review it. The students have it in their Google Classroom and their syllabus, but this will give you the link. It has all the benchmarks for all levels, from novice to we reach the intermediate mid in high school. Frida, if you have the chance to post the link, it would be great.
Okay, just a sec.
Thank you, Frida.
You're most welcome.
Okay, now our middle school Arabic teachers will give you real examples for learning activities and projects that our middle school students do in class. So I'm going to ask Asma to share first examples from her class.
Thank you, Diala. So here, as you can see, students in Arabic A course who are in the novice proficiency level understand and speak Arabic through thematic units. And one of the unit is Who Am I? So as you can see in the screen, the student did a poster to introduce themselves in Arabic, where they had to speak orally about their nationality and interests. Also, they had to interact and ask questions with their peers about each other. Students in Arabic B emphasize on developing oral and written skills. In the unit My House, students created a poster showing a picture of their house with a description of the house, the rooms, and the furniture.
Okay, before I start talking about my what I do with my students in class, I would like to say that we believe in the Arabic department, especially that learning is enriched and reinforced through and interest-driven and more holistic, active engagement through the projects that we do. And we do explore different ways for them to be exposed to real life situations or scenarios to use the language. So not only through the projects, we have different field trips that we're starting next week with some of the classes to provide more opportunities for them to hear and speak the language. In my classes, I do a lot of projects because I have also higher proficiency students, so they can use the language or the specifics of the language more. So we do interviews, interviews, reports. We do a living museum. We do presentations in Arabic for all the levels. We do presentations to other classes on hot topics or environmental topics or cultural topics as well. But I want to talk about one main project that is very dear to my heart, and it's in Arabic E. We do a living museum, and the unit we tackle here is called biographies. So after we explore different Arab celebrities and read a lot of biographies, we do have a field trip. We take the students to the National Museum, and there's a section on Arab celebrities and Arab scientists, and it's called the 1001 Inventions. So they are exposed to these people, these celebrities through the museum. And then we study them as well. We study some of them. And I asked my students to choose one Arab celebrity that they want to impersonate. They do the research, they study elements of the biography. Of course, they study the pronouns to be able to use them in their writing, in their presentational communication standard. And they write the biography, they turn it into an autobiography, and they turn the biography into an autobiography impersonating that person. And they present their project or their person, their personalities to an audience. They do present it in front of the parents, the teachers, and some of the Arabic students as well. They impersonate this personality by saying the life of this personality, as well as the look of that personality. So they dress like it, they act like it, they do the makeup, the hair, and everything. And it's such a nice project, and they learn a lot out of this project, not only about the celebrities, the culture, and the history of the celebrities as well.
Thank you, Frida. I want to mention also that through these projects and the learning activities that take place in the classroom, we embed the linguistic skills, grammatical skills. So we teach grammar as concepts in meaningful context in Arabic and blended within the context. This is the way that we teach grammar in middle school, and in high school they start go deeper into the grammatical skills, because we always receive questions about grammar and how do we teach it. We like to have to provide like real life authentic projects to the students that are related to their lives. So that's why all the skills that they learn, they apply it into their communication, whether they're speaking, interacting, or presenting, or even writing.
Perfect. And this is just a reminder for me that I need to continue to spend time in the Arabic classes so that I get my daily dose of learning as well. So thanks so much for that. I can't wait for the Living Museum project to see those experiences come to life. Families, we want to turn it over to you just for the next minute or so. If you have any questions or wonderings that came up during the presentation, we'll kind of wrap up our evening with any questions or things that we didn't touch on during the presentation. Feel free to drop it in the chat or unmute.
Hi, it's Melissa again. I'll go. Is there any thought to doing ASAs or anything like that in middle school? Is there interest in it?
Can I clarify your question? Is it doing
Sure.
an ASA in Arabic or doing an ASA about the language?
I would think in Arabic. Like if it was, games in Arabic or sports in Arabic or art in Arabic or something along those lines.
The Arabic teachers expressed their interest many times about providing and giving after-school activities. Also, this idea is shared with the admin. Usually, we propose the names of the activities and the students register for it. So hopefully you're going to see like an Arabic activity in the second semester, and we encourage the students all the time to register. We don't run any after school activity that has less than 8 students, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start one.
So it's the
And
interest.
we're happy to support it. Yeah, we just need the kids to sign up.
Right.
That's a great question. Any other questions or wonderings before we wrap up our call?
Just want to say that in one of the photos here on the screen, there's the level C kids are playing a game. So we do have games and stuff that we do during class. They're playing a game of words here and finding synonyms. So I do have the games and I'm ready to start one outside of the class.
Great. We'll sign up.
Okay. Well, I just want to really just take a moment and thank Diala and Asma and Frida for them being tonight, but really just for creating a relevant and engaging and supportive space during the day for our kids to learn and grow with the language. So thanks so much to all of you for everything that you do. Families, thanks for joining us this evening. I hope we addressed some of your questions or that you were able to kind of just get a framework for how we approach the teaching of world languages. And specifically tonight's call was about Arabic, but really the philosophy of the department, no matter if your child is speaking Spanish, French, or Arabic, is the same, and just providing some context and clarity around that. As always, if you have questions, things that come up later, feedback for us, like games club in Arabic, please reach out. We're happy to hear your thoughts and partner on all of those. So thanks everybody for being here tonight. I will post this recording tomorrow in the not tomorrow. Tomorrow's not Thursday. On Thursday in the WGO. Have a lovely night, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.